Do 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 do. Oh, is that too balls? Pop out. All right. Morning, evening, afternoon. How are we all doing on this fine Monday? Big amount of news, which I'm sure we're all aware. So I am a little bit cautious. We had a what? Didn't we have like an enormous gap down? Let me hide this. How big of a gap was that? 588 to 510. Yeah, like a 70, 80 point gap down. And then this was to do with America and Iran having positive conversations. And we skyrocketed just over 220 points. All in a day's work, I suppose. So, yeah. Crazy. I already don't mind a long off the previous day value area high. We did have one down there. That went right up to the POC. I'm using this like consolidation range. I'm taking a little bit of a... Where's my water gone? I'm taking a little bit of an approach away from the session-based volume profile and taking a little bit more of like Fabio's style. I still do have the daily and weekly profile because I do think they are very useful profiles. The Globex profile, I'm just going to see how I go without it for a little bit because... Sorry, let me just adjust and flash the camera. Yeah, the Globex profile, every time I use the overnight value area levels, I always just kind of don't prefer... I prefer the previous day levels, right? I prefer the regular trading hours levels. So I'm trying this out, okay? And then obviously we've got the bobbles. But we do have a fair few bubbles at the minute, so let's just up this to like 80. 90. 90 is like the upper. Yeah, I like 90. CVD, what are you doing? Pushing a storm up. Pretty in line with price though. I need my headphones in. I need my music on. I'm surprisingly well energized considering I was surfing this morning. So we'll see how that goes. I might have a dip in energy. I did have a coffee like fairly late in my day. Just to help, because I knew I'd be streaming. Why is my music not connected? It is, apparently. Oh, there you go. Du-du-du-du-du-du-du. We had some sellers absorbed at the bottom of that candle there. Most likely we're going to get a breakout of this. Rich Mind, welcome, welcome, welcome. God. Sorry, I'm fucking... throat is not happy. By the way, the two boxes that I have drawn on the screen, one of them is an area where we had an incredibly high amount of positive delta, which is the green box we're in now. So I'm expecting buyers to transact around that area. And then that upper one is an area where we had a lot of negative delta. It's the highest positive delta area on this same range as this volume profile, and the highest negative delta. So we see buyers stepped in there. Didn't have much of a result on price though. MotiveWave, you're pausing. What are you doing? Oh no, you have not paused. I just couldn't see that candle. Let's lower the opacity of these bubbles a little bit. 65. It's because it's in that green box as well. I wish I was watching here. I mean, I don't really trade until 10, but that was a very, very, very clean long. If we break out of this area and break through that red area, I may look to long above there, to be honest. Definitely a long sort of day. I mean, we have the momentum of that enormous news candle. Good lord. Also, notice how clean that reacted off the previous week levels. It literally shot straight up to the previous week value area high, and then came back down to like the previous day value area high, previous week point of control. Very nice. As for targets, really, to the upside, it's just previous week value area high, really. If we break out of this, this is how I'm kind of taking this approach today, is if we break out of this area that we're in here, if we break out of this area, and I essentially want to see a break and retest of this current session value area high with aggressive buyers behind it. Where's my pen gone? So I want to see something like this. Preferably, I want to see us get through this negative delta area. But yeah, Daz, this is something that I'm kind like do as I say, not as I do. I do still agree. I agree with Cami on the obviously the whole point of like MES being its own auction. The only reason that I am now charting ES and executing on MES is pretty much just because of the amount of order flow tools that I'm using. Not even that many, but the bubbles being the main one. There's a fucking... Do you remember this line here, boys? It's back. Son of a bitch. It's in a different position, though. Right, I'm restarting MotiveWave really quick, because I ain't dealing with that fucking random line again from last week. But yeah, since I'm using the bubbles, Daz, it's just too much for me to chart all the MES levels, all the ES levels, all the bubbles on ES, because you don't really want the bubbles on MES with order flow. With order flow tools like the CVD, the bubbles, any order flow tool like that, really. I don't think you want to be doing the same thing as like MES versus ES, because I mean you can there's definitely an argument for it, don't get me wrong, but it becomes much when you're talking about order flow, it becomes much more of a liquidity depth conversation as opposed to an auction market theory conversation. So yeah, like I do think that Cami is potentially a bit, I don't know what the word would be. Obviously he's like, it's very valid where he's coming from with the whole like MES is its own auction. Like, yeah, 100%. But it's one of those things where like theory versus practicality, it's just so much easier. I would very happily just, because like it's not like I'm trading blind charting ES. It's still the same. It's a very, very similar auction, and they are kept in line by arbitrage algorithms, like to follow each other. Well, for MES to follow ES. So ES is the primary auction. I think that if you were just trading MES, then it's probably a lot worse than charting MES and not ES compared to charting ES and not MES, even if I'm executing on MES, because like I say, at the end of the day, the micro contract was literally invented just to allow smaller participants to play in the market. So yeah, Cami does really stress the whole, like, if you're executing in the micro auction, then you need to be tracking the levels in that micro auction. And I do agree, but I'm not going to. But I will never tell people to do this, what I'm doing. I'm simply doing it out of, I accept that what I'm doing is at a theoretical level wrong, but just practically for me, this is how I want to do it. And you can't stop me. Morning, Jabbar. But yeah, I'm pretty sure there's like a lot of people that will use the volume order flow sort of stuff on ES and execute on MES. There isn't an auction in MES though. I was gonna say this a few streams ago, but I didn't want a nerd out and be annoying. The only auction is in ES. The arbitrageurs keep them tied together. I mean, it is an auction because it's a tradable asset. It depends what you're talking about auction. Like every contract that we look at on like a trading platform is its own auction. That's what I mean by auction. ES is the primary because MES isn't tracking ES if they are both tracking the underlying asset, but yeah, arbitrage keeps them tied together, or it keeps MES tied to ES. This is why I say that I think trading or charting ES and trading in the MES is fine, but the other way around, not so much. Yeah, I don't know I'm not sure what you mean by MES isn't an auction. Maybe if you could explain a bit more. I'm more than open to hearing the nerdy stuff. Nice bounce from overnight value very high and developing value very high. I've got developing value very high marked. I'm guessing overnight must be around there. I've not got it marked, like I say, because I'm more interested in the previous day levels. For me, I'm looking for it to break away from this consolidation range. Which it is doing. Doom. Also, I've had amazing feedback on the Fabio like setup on MotiveWave, so appreciate anyone that's shown support on that video or even just watched it, to be honest, because yeah, Wow. Probably one of my best performing videos within the first 24 hours. Definitely in my last 10 videos. Don't know about all time, but yeah. Appreciate you boys. Do, 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 do. Boom. Yeah, it was good. Hell yeah. Yeah, wait, what, who was it? Red Rose. Yeah, because like my whole point about it being its own auction, again, I'm fully open to hearing what you say, but I will also be arguing my point, obviously. Big sellers got absorbed at the bottom of that candle. But yeah, if you go onto MES and you plot a volume profile on MES, like it's different to ES. So like it is its own auction because it has its own value levels and it has its own order flow. It has its own depth of market book. Like it is its own auction. Yes, it follows ES very closely because of arbitrage algorithms that keep them, like you say, tied together, and they obviously are very similar assets because they both track the same underlying asset, which is the S&P 500. But yeah, then they are two separate auctions. They can be all of those things and still be two separate auctions. MES follows ES, never the other way around. Yeah, no, yeah, 100%. That's the MES following ES is the arbitrage, keeping them in line, but it doesn't mean that MES isn't its own separate auction. It just means that those arbitrage algorithms are influencing MES's auction to be more in line with ES if it diverges. The price discovery happens in ES because that's where institutional liquidity is. Yep, agreed. The majority of MES volume is just arbitrages. I don't know about the majority. There is a lot of retail. MES is obviously where all the retailers are participating as well. I obviously can't say how much of that is arbitrage, but I would think that it's not so much arbitrage because, like, I mean, it's just hard to say that really, isn't it? Like for certain. Unless you can track each individual trade, where it's coming from and why. Which, if you do, then it's an auction that doesn't contribute to price discovery. So technically it's an auction, but it doesn't function the same way a traditional... Yeah, it doesn't function the same way a primary auction does. Like I say, ES is the primary auction, is how I would phrase it. MES is its own auction. I think we're pretty much in agreement, to be honest. Because I agree with a lot of things you said. And a lot of the reasons you brought up is why I have kind of deferred from doing the whole EM. Yeah, I think we are. Yeah, yeah. That's part of the reason I've kind of moved a little bit away from charting MES. I didn't mind it. Like, it does make sense, obviously, to track those participants and the ES participants, and you can see where like the difference is sometimes, and you can know that if the ES levels differ, then you want to be aware of that, obviously. But yeah, for the more order flowy stuff, like you said, the ES is where the institutional liquidity, the large liquidity, the deeper liquidity is. So when it comes to order flow, I want to be in line with the order flow from the primary auction. Doesn't mean that the MES order flow is like unusable. It just means that it's a little bit, obviously it's easier to manipulate. It's harder to get a clear view on like, okay, what are the big money, like if you put big trades on MES, like you'd have to put such a high filter on it to the point where there wouldn't even be a point, because there wouldn't no one is going to enter the micro with, like, I've got a 90 size contract filter on ES right now. There's no point in me having a 90 size contract filter on MES, because that is just not a big player. And if for some reason someone is entering with 90 micros on MES, like, why? They just wouldn't do that. They just trade with nine minis. So yeah. Yeah, I agree, Red Rose. I fucked up today? Oh no. That's why I was saying a while ago, why look at MES levels and Globex levels, because the volume is so much lower. Yeah, so the argument for that is, again, if we are wanting to be in line with auction market theory as much as possible, which isn't a bad thing to be aligned with, then the volume isn't, like, the amount of volume isn't what we care about. This is from like a purist auction market theory view. It doesn't mean that it's practical, like I said. That's why, because I'm not doing that anymore, but I was, because it's not a bad thing to, like I say, be in line with completely with auction market theory. But anyway, yeah, if you're wanting to be in line with AMT as much as possible, then you need to you obviously are in line with the belief that each individual contract that you're trading is its own auction, and therefore has its own value levels. It has its own participants that are determining where is fair value, where is discount, where is premium in that auction. So if you're a purely auction market theory trader, then it's best to chart the auction that you're in. That's the point that Cami makes, and I do agree with that. And then Cami also makes the point when it comes to things like the micro and the mini, if you're charting and trading the micro, you still do want to be aware of the mini, because that is the primary auction. But yeah, like I say, I did do that for a while and it did work. So no hate towards that method. It's just that when I wanted to incorporate order flow a bit more, like, these things, like, there's not really a wrong or right way in my eyes. There's just different ways. None of them are, in my belief, none of them are inherently better or worse, as long as you don't do things like the only thing I wouldn't recommend is solely charting the micro, and like, if you're trading the micro, solely charting the micro. Always, if you're trading the micro, still be analyzing the mini as well as the micro. If you're only going to chart one, chart the mini. But you can chart both if you want to and compare levels and stuff, but obviously that'll be extra work. One was 500 up, then I'm now 50. Wow, damn. Tough. I don't want to come on someone's stream and start telling them what and what not to do. I don't really. You're not exactly a new face. It's one thing when someone's obviously, like, you've been in the streams a while, Red Rose. So, like, we have a bit more rapport. Is it rapport in that sense? So, like, I don't mind someone like you debating, because it's just a friendly debate, really, at the end of the day. It's not like you're telling me that's the way to do it. You're just saying, like, oh, in my view, this is the way to do it. And then I say, well, this is in my view. And then we, smash our heads together and figure things out for the benefit of everyone. That was a big bubble of buyers. I'm not interested in trading in this range that it's in right now. Whereas, like, someone, if so, like, completely new face just joined the stream and was just like, you're doing this wrong, that's a different story, obviously. And they'll probably get a big middle finger and a boot out of the stream. Hey Kai, could you please explain how you're trading now? I mean, the strat. Yeah, it's a difficult one for me to explain, because I'm still kind of getting used to incorporating this big trades, like the bubbles. I couldn't really. I could tell you like exactly what like an A+ setup would be, but yeah, I'm still working on, like, obviously I had my strategy completely laid out. I knew what I was looking for before I started incorporating this more order flowy style into the volume and stuff. But yeah, not. I could give you a very basic rundown. Who said that? Dunneth? Dunneth, yeah. I'm essentially looking for like everything. I don't know how aware you are of my previous strategy with volume profile. I still very much trade similar to that, but using the higher time frame volume profile value levels from previous sessions. So like right now I have the previous regular trading hours session marked up here, which is the PD, previous day, and then the previous week. And I'm essentially just looking for recent volume and the volume profile to give me a nice setup, a nice context around, preferably around one of these levels. And then the big trades, all I'm really looking for in there is to see aggression be on my side. It's kind of like almost a confirmation. I know it's a confirmation. It's also a way to make my stop loss tighter. So that's like something that I'm still kind of experimenting with. So yeah, once I have like a straight, like, this is exactly how I trade, this is what I'm looking for, I'll just make a video on it. But obviously I don't want to not stream just because I'm kind of figuring things out. That's what trading's all about, really, isn't it? So you get the raw view. Mr. God of War. Hope you're doing well, brother. It's been a while. At the end of the day, we just have to give stuff a try and put together a strategy using the things we like. Yeah, exactly. Exactly, Red Rose. I just opened my Lucid account and saw that I was in a trade up $800. The problem is I hadn't taken a trade on that account today. What? I must have left an order on Tradeovate. Jesus. That is the one thing about Tradeovate is you have to, like, I think you can do OCO orders on Tradeovate, but no, yeah, I've not been there because I'm aware that Tradeovate, like, you have to manually close each limit. I always make a point of, like, I always get stressed. I'm like, right, did I cancel all my fucking limits that were on Tradeovate? If I'm trading on Tradeovate, obviously I don't really trade on there often. I have an Alpha Futures eval that's on there at the minute, sitting at like literally just like 1k in profit. I'm just trading like super aggressively to try and pass or fail, and then just reset it. Yeah, not a bad. I mean, it's better that it was $800 in the green. You lucky sod. Normally I press exit all. Yeah. Forgot. Thanks for the explanation. No worries. I left orders sitting on Tradeovate. First time I used it and got burned. Yeah. Still got PTSD now. I have to check. Yeah. We've all been there. We have all been there. I'm going to lower these bowls just a little bit on the size side. We're almost 2% on the day, by the way. And we've like barely moved in New York session. Like, when did New York session start? Here. So yeah, real clean test of the previous day value area high. Clear rejection, so we are potentially, obviously, bullish. Would be great to get a trade all the way up to previous week value area high. But we're currently in this consolidation range, so to be honest, I really don't hate a sell from like this area since we have this negative delta as well. It's just a nice positive thing. It's just that I don't really want to fight the momentum of this push up from value area high. So, because like that trade would have to look something like this. I would want to see it, I think, this is like what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to incorporate Fabio's strategy almost. And like a little bit of Kami's like context logic as well. But for like a value area high fade, what I want to see is it break this actual value area high, and then I want to see it come back in and re-accept value, and then get like a retest here, aim for POC, and this is my entry so long as we get aggressive sellers. Then I can jump in, sorry, let me put that drawing back there. I can jump in with these aggressive sellers, and I can have my stop like literally just above them, and then I can target POC for a nice risk to reward. That's what I'm waiting for right now, to see if we get that. I would honestly kind of prefer. The only reason I'm debating a short here is because we have that negative delta. Like I say, if I draw a delta profile from the same point I have this, you see this, I don't know why it's over there, by the way. It's not normally over there, but I'm not going to complain because it's helpful that it is over there. It doesn't overlap with the volume profile. But you can see that enormous positive delta here at, what price is that? 70.75? Where the POC is. Incredibly positive delta there. And then we have this is the largest negative delta, or there is also this down here. But yeah, negative delta here of like minus 500. Scuzman, this is more of like it's not really a start time per se. It's not a session-based volume profile. I do still use the session-based volume profiles. Okay, we're breaking out of this here, so if we can pop up and then re-accept back in value, or if we like push away, then I can look for like a trend sort of move. Fucking line is there. Yeah, this isn't a session-based volume profile, so it isn't like a fixed start time. It's more to do with like what price is doing. So this is like a consolidation area profile, swing point profile, if you want to call it that. Something I picked up from Fabio is using discretion to draw volume profiles across relevant price ranges. So like we're currently in this box of consolidation. So that's the profile for this range of consolidation. So I can use it to do, okay, we got a lot of buyers in there and seemingly not much. Do you know what I need to do if I can do it quickly enough? I need this. My little line just to show me where price currently is. You can see we got a lot of aggressive buyers there, which if we don't push up, does favor quite nicely a short. Keep an eye on this here. Let's see. Oh, balls, I'm not going to have the right risk in this. I'm probably just going to enter this with 1 micro just as like testing the waters again. I need to see aggressive sellers though. If we can push lower here though, that's great because that means all these aggressive buyers here got absorbed. Not in this trade yet. Stalking it. Because if we do push higher here, then it's completely flips my bias, and I'm like, I honestly kind of want us to push higher because I don't really want to fight this momentum. I am going to drop this minimum trade size down to like 80. Okay. If I see a red bubble, I'm in. Just with 1 micro because I'm unsure of what my risk looks like on this. What is it? It's like 7 points. I'll go 2 micros because I know that I can get away with that. One would be, let me just do, actually minus that by 100. Okay, let me just quickly try and do this. Risk 2, 5, did it. Yeah, I could do like 8 micro as well. Didn't get the trade though, no signal there. Gonna watch the Fabio video later. Yeah, nice. Thank you, appreciate it. All it does is show you how to set up basically what my MotiveWave looks like now, just with the big trades, and we do see the CVD really pushing, to be fair, so long is probably the play here. And we've got a nice little bit of support here in the form of aggressive buyers. And we have a lot of aggressive sellers up here, so this is an area I would look for to be resistance. So if we draw a little volume profile, a little baby profile on here, we can look for some low volume nodes, which there isn't really many, but there is one. There's one little one here. Little baby profile. Profile, volume, low volume node. You know, something I honestly kind of do want to just enter there on a limit, kind of. I'm not going to go full risk with this, because again, I'm still trying stuff out here. I'll go with 4. Last time I was here, I'd only passed 2 evals, no payouts. Still no payouts. Did pass 4 accounts back to back. Gonna try for my first payout. Hell yeah! Manual lockout on TraderBait is so good for me. Yeah, I bet that's been useful for a lot of people. To be fair, the manual lockout thing, personally, never really been much of a just never really used it. But, yeah, that's just me, obviously. So here I'm just kind of basically looking at like a retest of this consolidation value area high. And then I also have these aggressive buyers here. This delta doesn't matter, neither does this. So I'm just anticipating that these aggressive buyers are going to step back in here. We have sellers being absorbed there though. This is turning into a bit of a low, this is like a low volume node here, absolutely. I'll just mark that in white. So really, if those sellers honestly get absorbed, then I will just enter there with 4. But if we pop lower, this is, I'm putting a stop buy here. Whichever one of these gets tagged first. Because if we push up here, these sellers are trapped, so I could put my stop below that. But if we push lower, obviously, they didn't get trapped. Yeah, they didn't get trapped, never mind. Cancelling that. This needs to be on the swing high. Filled there. Let me just move that to 8150. And move this up to 71250. We'll see how this goes. I want to see green bubbles pretty soon, obviously. So right now I'm comfortably defended behind these aggressive buyers. If these fail, then I want to be out. I may just flip if we pop back inside this comfortably and we get sellers here. I may just flip and go for the POC. We'll see. So we'll get stopped out of this first. Yeah, not liking that. That's a bit better. Can I get away with putting my stop down there at like 70? Nah, surely not. I'll just get out here. I think the issue here was this is also kind of low volume in a sense. So really, I could maybe get away with putting it like 79. Yeah, I'll do that because then I'm like properly behind this rejection area here. And if we can push up in front of these aggressive sellers that just came in and absorb these, then I will instantly move my stop here. I just need to see aggressive buyers here and no, not just a pop up. I need to see aggression behind it. Which there wasn't just then. Yikes, that's going to be a stop, surely. I was kind of front running this. I should have waited to see if aggressive buyers stepped in. I was kind of just hoping that these ones that were here would step in again and defend, but they haven't seemed to, obviously. Initial balance is set, actually, isn't it? Just saw a comment with a glance at the screen then. Probably honestly just going to get a rotational day if I had to guess, because look at this opening range. But statistically, we are likely to test that high up there, or that low down there, and obviously we're closer to this one, but what I am kind of worried about is that I feel like we are going to come down and test this POC. If I get stopped out on here, like I say, I will honestly... Oops, God. I will... Okay, this is okay, actually. I mean, I need to see a push higher. We're getting all these aggressive sellers, but price needs to move. It's not moving down, which is obviously good, because it means these aggressive sellers are being absorbed. But it's not pushing up too much, so not really making me feel a whole lot comfortable. I would have been stopped. Would I have been stopped out? Oh yeah, I'd have been ticked out of this if I had my stop where it just was. Come on. Aggressive buyers, where are you? Green bubbles. Green bubbles. That's a red bubble. Fuck off, red bubble. Go green. Green bubble. Oh, let me read some comments instead of paying attention to that bitch. Oh, God, I can't remember where I was. Gonna watch your Fabio video. Read that. Passed. Yep, read that. Yep, read that. Come on. Surely we'll just move that over there. Many feel like you shouldn't need to manual lockout because you want... Okay, that's nice. I need expansion. Not expansion. Well, I do need expansion, but I need green bubbles. So I can comfortably move my stop below those trapped sellers. This is also good because if this now comes up here to this high, all these aggressive sellers here are going to have to close their position, which they have to buy to do. So that's when we get a squeeze and we really accelerate beyond that high. Obviously, that's if we now go from where we are to that high. We obviously aren't there, so bear with me on that one. If we break this low, then I'm tanked. Oh. Many feel like you shouldn't need... I've tried to read this comment about 4 times. Manual lockout because you want to have your psychology in check. I think it's think they are right, but definitely helps kind of... Yeah. That's what I would also say. How you doing on the payout front? I'm yet to take a payout. Yet to take one from them tops. They've stolen these fucking top step accounts. Okay, this is tanking. I could have taken one recently, but I chose not to. I mean, I could take a couple, but they wouldn't be massive. But they would be payouts, obviously. I also want to get that alpha. As soon as I get that alpha revaluation passed on TradeAway, I know for a fact I'll get payout on that way sooner than any of these top step ones, because of how good the alpha payout policy is. I'll feel comfortable taking one way sooner, and not skinning my accounts alive. I feel I'll come back up to retest the IB high at least. Yeah, that'd be nice. I can definitely at least be. If we break that high, I'll probably go to break even, honestly, because I'd expect acceleration beyond that high. So if we get up there and break it, I'll move to break even. And as soon as we get some aggressive buyers and push up, hopefully somewhere in this range, I'll trim the stop to just below all these trapped sellers. Your risk management is superb, kind of training on the same but yeah, my risk management, I would say, has always been one of my strong points. It's just like a very strict rule I have with myself that I will never break. It's a good thing. I see this is tanking now. Great. No aggressive sellers though. What's CVD doing? Yeah. How do I fund my Bali lifestyle? Travel. No. I mean, I've only been in Bali for 3 weeks. It's basically just savings, and affiliate income has also helped a little bit. Oh god, I'm fucked here, surely, right? This is gonna accelerate when all these aggressive sellers step back in. This is gonna be a stop out. Yeah, that's how I'm funding this, is savings from when I was back in the UK. I'll be literally fly home on like Sunday. And yeah, affiliate payouts also help. And the OnlyFans, yeah, of course. Doing a collab with Cammy soon on that one. Staying alive. I'll happily be open about the affiliate side of stuff because it really... I mean, Cammy's pretty open about his. Obviously, his is way more than me. Make no mistake, I won't be buying a fucking house in Australia and a Porsche anytime soon, but... And Bali's cheap. Like, Bali's insanely cheap. God, what a tease. Like, I bought 4, obviously fake, but like designer tops today from a store in Bali, and it cost me £11, which in USD would be like, what, $15, $16 maybe? Don't know how accurate that conversion was. I was thinking of starting a channel for accountability and Joe. Yeah, absolutely. Do it. That's my advice, would be do it. The only thing I would say is, like, when you're doing it for like accountability and journaling, I've very much treated my channel like a business. Like, I make content for the purpose of growing my channel and monetizing my passion for trading. And the way that you go about building a channel in that way would differ from just doing it for like something to do, like for the accountability and journaling side of it. So I would also say, if you are wanting to monetize it, then go about it a different way. And if you're wondering what way that would be, I would just say help people. This is like, surely it's going to get me now, right? Yeah, me too, Xena, me too. Monetize, yeah, obviously it would be great, yeah. But it just depends how much, because like, you really do, like, I really do enjoy making videos. So like, it's one of them where it's like, if you try it and you enjoy it and you carry on doing it, if you get a passion for it, then like, you will be able to turn it into a nice bit of like, well, side job, full-time job, depends how well it goes. But like, I really do like making the videos that I make, and I also do think about the videos that I make. Like, my goal with my channel is to help people. Like, that's all. Because people are selfish. Like, no offense to any of you, but no, I very much doubt any of you. I mean, some of you will watch me just for entertainment or whatever, or like, you've been following me for a while. But I'm willing to bet that a lot of you found me because I helped you in some way, whether that was explaining a prop firm to you, whether it was showing you how to set up a chart for a specific style. At the end of the day, I'm here to help you boys. So that's, and it's a win-win, because if I make videos that will help traders, 1, I'm passionate about trading, so I'm happy to do it. 2, I enjoy doing it. I enjoy the process of making the video, editing the video. Sometimes it's a ball ache, but making the thumbnails, all that sort of stuff. And at the end of the day, if I help people, they feel more appreciative of me instead of just being like some entertaining influencer dude. And then like if they buy an account, obviously I don't force anyone to buy accounts. I tell them the pros, the cons, the options. But if they end up buying an account through a prop firm that I recommend and they use my code, it's a win-win. Positive sum game. Yeah, I know you have, Mr. God of War. I'm well aware. Oh, there we go. Finally stopped out with that. God damn, that took a while. Clearly there's a lot of absorption going on there, so I am going to sit and watch this just a little bit. Because I do think that this is going to squeeze up. I think it's probably going to go test that POC one more time, to be honest. But yeah, I probably I should have probably been looking for a trade in this sort of area, because this is kind of like the low volume area of this profile. Also down there at the bottom end of it, but I don't expect it to get down that low, to be honest. I will potentially enter with like 1 micro again on this, because I can get away with doing just 1 micro for fun, for shits and gigs. Getting more volume higher now. Developing POC is going to move up soon. Passion comes across those who enjoy. Yeah, exactly. Is OBS and Mac Air enough to start? Yeah. Maybe not for streaming, but yeah, for videos, yeah, 100%. It's all right. I have a MacBook. I have a MacBook Pro, but like this one that I'm on now is an upgrade from what I started on. MacBook Airs are just obviously a bit. It depends when, like what year your MacBook Air is, obviously, because my girlfriend had a MacBook Air and it didn't do so well. Because they're not designed to be like productivity computational powerhouse computers. Obviously they're designed to be like just a couple small jobs. If this pumps up now, that's a piss take. But I still use OBS now, obviously. Like OBS is fine. What do I use for OBS? Yeah, OBS is like the gold standard. Like everyone uses it. I don't know about everyone, but most people use it because it's just so easy. How are the market, Professor Mac? Markets are consolidating, but who could have guessed, right? After that news, all that news. I need to, one sec, I need to grab something. Ugh. Can you guys still see me? I'll turn that light off. Yeah, you can still see me, just about. Turn my screen brightness up a bit. Yeah, it's very, very arranging. Don't mind me, I'm just taking my drugs. If this goes back down towards POC, I'll just call it a day. Interesting how there's no aggressive sellers there. I wonder if I drop the filter slightly. 70. Anything? No, not really. I think 80 is a nice sweet spot. I probably should have waited for a more clear breakout, really, instead of fading that. Instead of anticipating the breakout. Like, we've been in this range like all morning. Since this news, we went into this range, so really you probably shouldn't have anticipated a breakout so much there. Like, I do think I was right, but I also... stop placement was pretty difficult. POC just shifted up on TradingView. Oh yeah, look at this, it's popping up now. Son of a bitch. How much did it get me by? Where's my stop? I think my stop was like 79, yeah. It's got me by like 2.5 points if it pops up now. We have all these, like, you see all these aggressive aggressive sellers down here. Big green candles. Oh, big green candles. So these are all these aggressive sellers at the bottom here are trapped if we push higher now. So they'll have to close a position up at this high here, or even maybe they're even closing at this high and it's driving this candle up here. Damn. Maybe I'll try and jump in this with a micro if I can. Like to see a retest of current session value very low. I don't know if we get that low personally. I think if we break that high, it's gonna squeeze because we have so many aggressive sellers trapped down there. That's my only reason for that, so I'm not like some fucking prediction genius. If we retest that, I low-key... Alright, I'm chucking a micro in there. Stop just below this candle at 85.75. Trying to go really tight here. Trailing behind those aggressive sellers. Aggressive buyers. I'll go a few points below that actually, because that's like right below that candle. I'll go down here at like 84.50. My music stopped. I don't even know where my phone is. Here it is. There we go. When we're going all in on 20 Apex accounts, not for a while. Not for a while. How's the new Fabio setup? Great video, but I appreciate it, Professor Mac. It's a work in progress. We'll just leave it there. Work in progress. This is the current trade. Why is it 84.50? I kind of don't even want to do that. I want to do like 84. Makes me feel a little bit more comfortable. Still a very large risk to reward. And again, if these aggressive buyers all fail, then I don't want to be part of that anyway, and I'll just leave it there for the day. Looks like they're going to. Yeah, stopped out on that again. I'm honestly expecting to take a lot of stops here because like I'm only $250 down on the day. That's my max loss on the day. On this account, if I was trading normally, and yeah, clearly struggling to get this breakout, this range. Thought I could jump on that momentum there, but nope. Yeah, like I say, I'm expecting to take a lot of stop outs while I figure this whole fucking strategy out. Obviously, I don't really know what I'm doing yet with it. It's just kind of testing it. Maybe I'll end up going back to how I traded before because it wasn't exactly doing terribly. It's just like this made sense to me, and I felt like if I could implement it and get it to work for my style, then it would work quite well. Yeah, I will leave that there, boys. I hope you enjoyed watching me have a fuck around with this stuff. I'm going to continue to fuck around with this for maybe this week, and then I'll assess at the end of this week if I'm thinking I'm helping myself or fucking myself up, and then I'll make a decision on what I'm going to be doing going forward as of next week when I get back to the UK. So yeah, hope you boys enjoyed, and I'll catch you tomorrow, same time, 9:45 a.m. Please use code KAICAP at checkout because I just lost $250. Yeah. Catch you boys tomorrow. I'm going to go sleep.